Yep, is that okay now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Hi guys. Hello, hello. All right, so I'm just gonna put you guys on mute here and start this training here. And so, um, one of the most important areas that the brand new LC wants to focus on is going to be the approaches. And personally, in my last 10 years of being in network marketing, my first two companies, what I learned as the biggest lesson was to focus on approaches. That was the single most key important aspect to building this huge income. Because to give you a bit of an idea, Forensic Networker, which is what you'll be learning at the convention this coming April, talks about the importance and really delivers a key message on having set tours every single week. And so by doing those set tours, part-time twice a week, full-time 5 times a week, what it's going to do is it's going to lead you to the five-figure incomes in 1 year. So easily making 10K a month after 1 year, easily. And so the key then is how do we make sure that we can have these tours being booked? And of course, the Friends Networker talks more about that. And one thing I want to focus on today is just the approaches. If you guys can all spend the next year simply focusing on approaches and becoming what you might want to call masters of approaches, then the business becomes so much easier for you. It becomes a lot simpler and you start seeing results left, right, and center. And because for my first sort of company I was with, I had to do so much learning on approaches because I was just so bad at it um, that once I learned how to do approaches, I really started to see my business take off. And so, without further ado, I'm just going to lead you guys into the training that I think a lot of you want to focus most of your time in the first sort of year in which is becoming the master of approaches. So, the key here again is to be the messenger and not the message. Be the messenger, not the message. And what I mean by that is simply don't say too much. And most people that I've seen who do approaches, despite the warnings of what I suggest or recommend, they still end up saying too much. But what happens if you start to go into too much details about the business or about the opportunity? Well, the way the human mind works, psychologically speaking, is the more information you give to someone up front, the less they will think they need to know later on. So it works against you. The more you say now, the less they think they need to know. And they don't feel that, meeting with you for a coffee is required now because they already have all the information. And other times, if you say way too much, you might end up discouraging or even quote unquote turning off your prospect. So you had this interest peaked and they were interested and they asked you a few questions. You said too much now, and now you ended up having them lose their interest and they didn't even see the presentation. And don't forget, the focus of the approach and the sole single purpose of the approach is to get that person to watch the presentation. That's it. So, in other words, socializing this business doesn't count. You talking to them face to face, trying to explain the business doesn't count. Me after 5 years in this business, if I try to do the presentation without the PowerPoint and face to face through conversation, even I couldn't do it. And if I can't do it, the chances are that it won't be so easy for you to do it either. So the key again of the approach is to book that meeting and to have that coffee meeting because any proper business presentation, any proposal in the business world is never done over a conversation. It's done in a boardroom setting or in a hotel meeting or a proper sit down where you have your PowerPoint in front of you and you're going through the material that way, right? It's always done that way. So that's the focus here is the approach is to lead to you doing a presentation. And by saying too much, it ruins your chance of booking that presentation. So the whole goal really is just to have a nice conversation. And before we even get into the training, I find that it's more important to set your mind straight. If in your mind, psychologically speaking, you have the wrong intention in your mind, I find that approaches becomes a lot harder. Whereas if you have the right mindset, approaches becomes so much easier. So even before I get into the scripts, I have to fix the mindset here. And one of the biggest sort of blocks or mindset challenges people have is they hate selling. People hate selling. And frankly, I hate selling. If you told me your definition of what you thought a salesperson was and how you didn't like these kind of people, I wouldn't want to be that person either. I don't think you would want to be that person either. So the reality is that we all hate selling. I hate selling. So to me, you're not selling anything. So if you have that mentality still that you're trying to sell someone something, I want to change that mindset and change your mindset into the giving. If your mindset goes from selling to giving, now the business has become so much more stress free. You're going to enjoy the business because it's a lot more fun. So try giving, because really, what can be more fun than giving away money, especially when it's not yours? So our company is still the only company on this planet that allows you to give $200 gift certificates to people just for taking a look. And that money isn't even your money. And it's a great value because if someone were to spend the $200 gift certificate on buying a $300 piece, they only paid $100. Whereas for me as a Diamond LC to buy the same piece, my price is usually half. So half of 300 is 150, which is $50 more than paying $100. So again, the gift certificate is a great value for someone just for taking a look at this opportunity. So again, the mindset of selling has to be gone. You cannot be in the mindset of trying to sell someone something. You're simply here to give them something. And if you can have a conversation and identify what are the things that people need, and your goal is to give them what they need, then this business has become so much more fun, relaxed, and simple. So the point of having a next conversation is to find out what's their needs. Everyone has at least two. I'm sure everyone at this house today wants more time or more money, if not both. And so, if your goal was to help give people a way to have more time or more money, then it's a different psychological origin. You're not going to be there pressure to sell someone something. You're not going to have that aura or that sort of bad vibe coming from you because you're here to give people what they want. And if you also hate selling, another way of looking at it is try sharing. You share all the time. Everyone shares all the time. For example, what do you do when you watch a really good movie? You go home and you tell your family, your friends, your coworkers about this amazing movie you watched. Whether it's Sex and the City #3, or it's Transformers, or it's some love movie, whatever it is, Or if you watch a really bad movie, what do? You share, right? What do you do when you have a great restaurant experience? You share with people. You got to try out this restaurant. I believe last time I was in Calgary, we went to Bubble Mania, and from me loving the wings of Bubble Mania, it led to teams in Edmonton and Red Deer knowing about Bubble Mania. So people share. If you have a bad experience, you share as well too. And what do you do when the ladies, when you find a great deal on something, like it's some really amazing cheap shoes, amazing sale, you share with your friend. Imagine I bought this, I bought 5 pairs of shoes for $100, and you share with people your excitement, right? So again, we're not in the mode here of selling. We're either here to give or here to share. And once you change your mindset to having the sharing mode or the giving mode, I can guarantee you this business has become so much more easier and more relaxed. And so you share naturally, so simply share GWT. Now, back to mindset again. One last thing I have to really focus on here is you joined GWT because you felt that there's something that's in it for you, that's good for you or your family. So if it's good enough for you and your family, then isn't it good enough for others? So why is it that some people feel that, John doesn't deserve, or I shouldn't show John this opportunity? Why do people feel that, this business might not be for John Doe? I don't get that. Because if it's good enough for you, it's at least good enough for them to take a look at this. So I hope that really makes sense because I don't understand why people have that prejudging mindset. If you saw value and you join, then it's at least worthwhile to show someone else what you saw as well too. And of course, back to the giving mindset, if you were to give enough people what they wanted, which is a way to get more time or more money, you will eventually get what you want. And that's as simple as it gets. And so, again, you're not here to get money from people. You're not seeing dollar signs on people's heads. You're not, you don't see a $100 bill on this guy's head or that girl's head. You're here to help everyone by simply showing them the incredible GWT opportunity. So, Approaching made simple. There's really just three simple steps to the approach. Okay, I hope you're writing this down. Three very simple steps. Step one, and the most important step of all, because if you don't do this step, you can't progress to step two and three, is to build like and trust. To build like and trust. Because if someone doesn't like you, I don't care how good you are at doing the presentation or how much of a super salesperson you are, if they don't like you, they're not going to join you. If they like you, but they don't trust you in the sense that you're a good person to hang out with, but they don't trust that you're the proper business person or the person that has right intentions, they still won't join you. They'll join someone else. Okay, so once you have like and trust, and you add on this incredible GWT opportunity, that's when your applications start pouring in. So your goal, your part, is to focus on like and trust. Okay. Now, we always talk about form, and form is a way to remind you how to build like and trust by having a conversation. So, form stands for the following: it stands for family, occupation, recreation, money. Now, F can really be family or friends, so write that down. And the point of this is that if you don't know what to say to someone sometimes, because, for me, when I was trying to pick up girls or doing the business, sometimes if I'm talking to someone, I just don't know what to say. And I always use this as a way to jog questions for myself. So if it's, F, family or friends, I might say, oh, are you from around here? I mean, how long have you been living in Calgary now for? What's your background, by the way? So things to talk about, family and friends. Occupation, also, what do you do for a living? So just ways to remind you of questions to ask, okay? And really, there's, every conversation you've had from the time that you woke up this morning till right now, every conversation you had contained one of these four things. And so when you do, so again, form, you do it every single day, you do it naturally. And when you're talking about form, you don't have to follow exactly the FORM. It could be, occupation first and then family later on. Or you might just talk about, one thing, like just M or just occupation. The whole time you're talking about that person's job. And so again, the point of this is you're gonna find their itch. And I'm not saying physically they have a dirty spot in their body and they're itchy. I'm talking about their itch as in what's their need or their want. Because by talking about family, you might realize that, oh, this person doesn't spend enough time with his children, or he wishes he could travel a lot more through recreation, or that they're not making enough money through their occupation. And so you want to do this to identify what are their needs and wants. And then our job later on is to show them, hey, you know what? I have something that might be of interest to you to help you gain more time or more money or to give you more time with your family. And now once you find that itch, all you have to do now is scratch it. And again, I don't mean literally. Okay, I don't mean to literally go to a man and start scratching their little itchy spot. No, that's not my point. I just mean to simply ask more open-ended questions. So if you find out that for someone that, they're really unhappy with their job, well, don't just leave it at that. You want to ask them an open-ended question. Okay, ask them an open-ended question. So for example, it could be, well, what is it that you're not happy about with your job? So you're not asking a yes no question, like, do you hate your job? Yes. You're asking an open-ended question to have them talk more about their itch. Oh, well, so so what is it that you're not happy with your job? Oh, my manager, he's such a doorknob. And then one thing you can always do is say what they just said. So they say, well, my manager's a doorknob. You could say, oh, your manager's a doorknob? Yeah, I mean, he makes me work these overtime hours and I'm not getting paid for it. Oh, you're working overtime hours and not getting paid for it? So by simply repeating what they're saying to you, it has, allows them to further discuss and talk about their itch. Okay, so really, there's some great questions I always ask when it comes to occupation, and the first question I always ask is, hey Michael, what do you do for a living? And it could be, well, I'm a programmer for Thales. Second question, oh, how long have you been doing that for now? Oh, I've been doing it for about 5 years now as a full-time programmer. Went from junior to senior programmer, and yeah, it's been about 5 years now. And question number three is the one that gets the ball rolling, gets the juices, squeezing. You ask them, "Oh, you must love what you're doing." So it doesn't matter what they say. If these three questions can work regardlessly of what they say. And number three, though, is the one that really gets the ball rolling. You must love what you're doing. Well, it's all right. Not really. My boss, my manager, the pay, whatever it might be. And if in the unlikely event someone says, I do love my job, I always ask them, oh, well, you love your job? And usually then they say, oh, well, okay, well, I mean, there's one thing that I don't like. So usually when I ask that question again, they realize that they're just saying that they love their job on defense, automatic mode. And if you actually ask them, oh, you really love your job? Then they start to actually tell you the truth. And so in that case, it's three great questions to get the conversation going. And so I always ask these three questions when I talk to anybody, for that matter. So again, scratch that itch, ask open-ended questions, and of course have them discuss more about their itch, have them become more passionate and more furious and more more into that conversation as well too. So now again, so the last few tips here, all about having conversation. And your goal really is just to meet a new friend. Just be there, get out there, and meet as many new friends as possible. And so if your mindset again is to meet new friends and share with people or to give them something that they want, this business has gotten so much more easier for you. And the key again here is to ask questions and listen. And I don't mean to just you know, listen on the side. I'm talking about genuine listening. I'm talking about listening as if you actually care about what they're saying, not just nodding your head and words going in one ear out the other ear. I'm talking about genuinely being interested in what they're saying to you. Because have you ever been in a situation, guys, where you're talking with a friend of yours or someone who just asks you a question about something and you're explaining your answer to them, and even before you're done explaining your answer, they've asked you another question, or you felt that they're not really listening to you, that is probably the worst thing you can do in having a conversation with someone because that person they're talking to, if you ask them a question and then they're trying to explain to you something, but you jump off to the next question, they can feel that you're generally not being interested in what they're saying, and you're going to frustrate them. How many times have you ever been frustrated because you felt that someone wasn't listening to you? We've all been there before. So don't do that. God gave us two ears and one mouth. So please listen more than you talk. And please be genuinely interested in what they're saying. Okay? Because the reality today is people don't talk enough about themselves. That's the reality. You know, um, you know, most people don't get a chance to vent off or complain about themselves. Most people, like all of you probably, are usually spending your time hearing someone else's complaints, right? And so the reality is that most of us don't get a chance to share what's on our mind. If you give someone the opportunity to talk about what's bothering them, and they talk for an hour, you will listen for an hour. They talk for 8 hours, you listen for 8 hours. They talk for 7 days, you listen for 7 days. Now, I'm not being serious about that. The point is be interested in what they're saying to you. Because once you let them vent off and talk about what's on their mind, and you are genuinely being interested in listening to what they're saying to you, you will instantly gain like and trust. And when you suggest to them that you have something that might be just for them, they will be more than happy to take a look. And that's how simple approaches can be. And it all starts from like and trust. And like and trust doesn't just stop here. It continues on throughout the business. It continues on because now you now have a partner with you. It's lifelong, like and trust. So there's three types of people you will approach. Only three types of people you will approach. The first type is close friends and families. Okay. The second type is not so close friends and family. Distant relatives or a friend you haven't seen for 3, 4 years. And complete strangers or cold prospects. Now, when it comes to building like and trust, for type number one, you don't have to spend so much time building like and trust because you already know them very well. However, for type two and three, because you don't know them very well, you want to spend a lot more time. It's very, very important to build like and trust. Without like and trust, it's almost like you're just sort of, blind shooting darts on the board. It's like a lottery. You're hoping to get someone interested in seeing your business presentation. But if you spend proper time building like and trust with type 2 and 3, it's not a gamble anymore. People will be guaranteed to take a look at your business opportunity. So now that we know that, some people still have a hard time even starting a conversation. And for me, I used to be really bad at picking up girls and I was always shy and didn't know what to say. So it's amazing because after I applied the training that I learned in our company for approaches, man, oh man, I was just having a lot much more of an easier time doing that. Of course, eventually met my wife, but here are some really great tips to starting a conversation, even with strangers, is simply give a compliment. You see someone at a barbecue, hey man, that's a really nice watch there. Or wow, nice pair of jeans that you're wearing. I mean, where'd you get that from? Everyone loves getting a compliment. No, nice haircut, by the way. So, people love getting compliments. And if you talk about things that are related to our company, what a better way of starting a conversation? Nice watch, nice handbag, nice earrings, bracelet, necklace. People love getting compliments. And naturally, when you give a compliment, people can refuse but to smile and to say thank you. And now that you instantly started that conversation now. Or it could be nice day to day. It could be a general world topic that everyone in the world has a universal understanding of, which is the weather, right? Oh man, it's a pretty rainy day today, eh? Or nice, it's amazing weather today, isn't it? And again, once you do that, you have to have the conversation, still give those compliments on a nice watch or that kind of stuff. So usually in our trainings, we have people practice, this drill of building like and trust and having conversation. I'm not sure if Anne Marie, if you wanted to do the same thing and take a break and let people there at the house get together and start practicing doing, of course, the like and trust drills. If not, I'll just continue on and finish the training. What do you feel?
Well, let's ask. Do you guys want to do a little practice? See how we can. Actually, your glasses are really nice. These suit your face very well. That's awesome. Well, there you go.
Well, what we could do is once I'm done the training, if you want to go back and I have this PowerPoint slide available for download. If you want to go back and do the drills later on, you could as well too. Um, so why don't I just finish the training then for today,
Yeah.
and when I'm done, you guys can continue doing the drills after the it's done. Sound good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. Thank you.
Hey,
Keep
is
on.
everyone enjoying themselves so far? Have a good time?
Yeah.
All right.
Did
Well,
you get a spelling mistake?
okay. Well, make sure you send me that little spell mistake later on. So, okay. So let me go on and finish up the training here. So just back on mute again. And the next part is even more juicy. So now that you've built like and trust, and you have that conversation, and they like you, they trust you. Now it's time for the approach. Now it's time to lead in and talk about the business now. So some quick notes here. The shorter the approach and the simpler the approach, the more effective it is. If your approach takes 5 minutes and it's complicated and involves talking about 50 different things, it's going to be really confusing and very, very ineffective. So the shorter the approach and the simpler the approach, the more effective it is. So one great way to have a lead in is simply doing the following. Is you say to someone, hey, Michael, could I ask a favor from you? Or it could be, hey, Yvonne, guess what? Or it could be, Susan, I need your help. And what do you think is the response to this? The response will always be, well, sure, what's up? Tell me what's going on, or what's up, okay? And now that's giving you the chance to now lead into your approach, all right? But um, usually, when you're building like a trust with someone, they'll naturally ask you, so what do you do, by the way? Or what's new with you? Again, so the key here is you want to get them to basically say, what's up in response to your favor or guess what or help approach, or they might even just ask you what's been new with you. And now it's time to go ahead and do your approach. And this can be done, by the way, on social media, Facebook, Twitter, emails, chats, over the phone, or even in person. But once they have asked you what's up, now it's time for your approach. And a quick tip here is you want to talk slowly because you'll sound more confident. If you kind of talk too fast, you might stutter or mumble, end up having a little bit of it might sound kind of fishy, or you might sound like you're not sure what you're doing. And as well as, take your time. Sometimes it might not be the best time to go for the approach, especially if you haven't built like in trust. So a lot of times, if I'm meeting someone that I haven't spoken to for about like, half a year or a few years, the first time I go with coffee, I'm just spending time building like and trust. I don't even talk about the business. I'm just talking about catching up, the good old days, back in school days, or the sports teams, or just joking around. And I'm not even focusing on the business at all. So that whole first meeting sometimes for me is just like in trust. And the very end of it is when I might get into the business. But if not, then I've established like in trust. And if I ask them out for another meeting in the future later on, it's a guaranteed yes. Okay, so your first meeting doesn't have to be the approach right away. But once you now had that question asked, it's time for the approach. And here are some real simple ways to finish your approach. What you could say, one script is, well, I'm with a Toronto designer fashion house, and we're on a huge branding campaign, you know, expanding into the Calgary area, and we're giving away $200 gift certificates to people just for their opinions of the products and the company. And that's it. And that was your approach. And it says note that you can add which city you're expanding into. So definitely with Calgary, or whichever city you're from, Medicine Hat, for example, same thing. I'm a Toronto designer fashion house, and we're on a huge branding campaign expanding into the Medicine Hat area, and we're giving away $200 gift certificates to people just for their opinions of the products and the company. Then you wait for a response, and usually the response is, oh, or well, that's pretty cool, or wow, so what's this branding campaign all about? And it doesn't matter what they say. Once you say the script, okay, the key now is to go and book the time to have a sit down together. Do not go into the business. Do not try to explain the business. You're there just to try to book a meeting. So again, lead in. You said, John, could I ask you for a favor? Yeah, sure. What's up, Rene? Well, I'm with a Toronto designer fashion house and on a huge branding campaign expanding into the Calgary area, and we're giving away $200 gift certificates to people just for their opinions of the products and the company. And so John, can you help me with my branding campaign? Well, sure, Rene. I mean, yeah. Well, great. I would love to get together with you for coffee. I know my treat coffee's on me. Is tomorrow at 7 p.m. good, or is that Wednesday at 1 p.m. better? So the key here again is, once you've done your approach script, the next step is to book that coffee meeting. Okay. And if they ask you for more questions, you have to bite your tongue till it bleeds. Okay. Again, not literally, just figuratively speaking, but you cannot go into too much details. Okay. The whole goal again of the approach is to get together for a coffee, have a sit down, and do a proper PowerPoint presentation. So, and later on, I'm going to teach you guys what happens if they ask you for more details. If they keep digging and digging for more details, I can teach you what to do then. But generally speaking, just by doing this, if you have done proper like and trust in the first place, and you ask them to get together with you for a coffee to help you with your branding campaign, they will most likely say yes to you. Okay? It's because again, in your script here, you talked about, just by getting your opinion of the products in the company, they get $200. So for your approach to help you with your branding campaign, well, to show you more about this branding campaign, to show you the products and company, why don't we get together for a coffee, right? So however you want to say it, the whole point though is to book that coffee meeting, okay? So another way to do it is script number two is you say, Judy, guess what? They say, well, what, Renee? You can say, well, I just received my $1,000 worth of free fairy jewelry by becoming a luxury consultant, and so do my friends, and I want to tell you about it. Then you wait for a response, and they'll say, well, sure, what's it all about? Or how'd you get that $1,000 worth of free jewelry? What? Again, to finish it off, you just say, well, great. I would love to get together with you for coffee. My coffee's on me. I can show you exactly how I got this $1,000 worth of free fairy jewelry. Is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. good for you, or is Wednesday at 1 p.m. better? So the whole point is, once you use the scripts that we have here, the end is the same. You're still trying to book that coffee meeting, right? So it's not rocket science. It's so simple, and that's how you do approaches. So for me, my goal when I do like in trust conversations is to go towards booking that meeting. Okay. The third script you could say, and usually this works really well when you're at a restaurant or someone says to you, hey, nice watch or nice handbag or nice earrings. You can say, well, I get paid to wear designer products. And you can show off your watch or your earrings if you're wearing it. And then you say, I would love to tell you about it. And usually they'll say, well, yeah, tell me how you get paid to wear, bling essentially. And then again, same thing. So you say, hey, Humphrey, guess what? Well, I get paid towards design products. I want to tell you about it. Then you wait for a response, and they'll say, okay, well, how's that work? Say, well, great. Why don't we get together for a coffee? I can show you how that works. I'm kind of busy right now, but is tomorrow at 7 p.m. good, or is Wednesday at 1 p.m. better? And notice that in asking for the coffee meeting, we're only giving two choices. We're not saying, hey, when are you free next week? Because when you ask that question, when are you free next week? People can never decide if you give them too much choices. However, if you say, hey, Anne-Marie, pick A or B, people can pick A or B. People can actually choose between, two choices. So don't give them, you know, infinite amount of choices. Give them two. Is Wednesday at 7 p.m. better, or is Thursday at 7 p.m. better for you? Okay. But again, the whole point of it doesn't matter what script you use here. We have four scripts in total. The end result is the same. What you're trying to do here again is book that coffee meeting. And the last script is what I literally used when I first joined the business for my first like 30 people I talked to. Is I said to them, hey John, we kind of built like in trust. Then I would say, well, John, no, I had this business idea that I've been meaning to talk to you about, and then I wait for a response. And again, they will for sure say, well, yeah, what's up? And then again, what do you think I do next? The same thing, right? I follow up by saying, well, great. I'd love to get coffee with you. My treat coffee's on me. Is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. good for you, or is Thursday at 1 p.m. better? Right? So the whole key again, I hope I'm really making this very clear and simple for all of you, is once you do the approach, you want to book that coffee meeting. It doesn't matter how you say it. You can make it sound so natural, like, well, you know what? Well, why don't we get together for coffee? Everyone, if you build like in trust, they will for sure say yes to you. And so a lot of times when I first joined, some people who have the right sort of, I guess, influence on their people, or they have the right kind of, what's that word called? People see you in a certain way. So for example, if people know you as someone who's always into businesses and is very geared towards, for example, making money, I've done it with a few friends. I said, John, I want to talk to you about a business. And because they know who I am, that I'm always into making money, and everyone wants to make money, they just say, well, sure, when, uh, when and where. So if you are that kind of person, when you had that kind of respect and that kind of, I guess, appreciation and understanding from your friends that you're that go-getter person, it could just even be you saying to them, what, John, I want to talk to you about a business. Are you free tomorrow at 7 p.m.? And that's it, right? Given that again that you have that connection and that appearance towards your people as well. Okay, but the goal here again is to book a time, sit together for a presentation. Now the rule though is people have to know that they're seeing you for one of three things. They have to know that they're seeing you to discuss or learn more about the products, or about the company, or about tax benefits. Okay, if they're coming to meet you thinking they're just there to have a lunch with you, and then you burst open your laptop in a presentation, you're going to kill like in trust, because people weren't expecting that. So don't hijack people to meetings. Don't trick them into meetings. As long as you use one of the four approaches, or they know it's about a branding campaign, about products, company, business, tax benefits, it's fair game. But don't for some reason hijack them into a presentation, or be sneaky about it. There's no need to do that, and you'll kill like in trust. All right. So there's some great tools you can use, of course, doing approaches, but really with the previous four scripts, there's almost no need to have tools mostly, except for the products that you're wearing. But if you happen to be, going to an event or something like that, or you're at a barbecue and in your trunk, you might have the lookbook, then great, pass around the lookbook as a way to talk more about the products, right? Because lookbooks have great credibility. This has a preferred magazine, the very president watching there, Canadian Jeweler, Regard magazine. It's a great way that if you give a lookbook to someone, that later on you call them back up again to book that coffee meeting, and you can ask them back for the lookbook. So it's a great way to follow up with people. as a way to get back the catalog to meet you in person again. It creates interest and excitement. Of course, it has a lot of the TIFF photos and celebrities, the fashion show photos. And again, it's a great tool to have with you. But again, if in most cases you don't even need to have it. But if you happen to have it with you, then you can option to choose to show it or not. Again, if you have like a smartphone, then if someone asks you for more details, you might want to show them the tip video off of YouTube, or it could be the fashion show video or the fairy president timepiece video. So those are the three videos that I will only ever share with someone if I decide to share with them anything at all. But usually, again, I just book that coffee meeting. Of course, Pack 2, which is now part of the Glamo Pack, has the Canadian Business Journal inside, the American Business Journal, Viva International being the 011 Design of the Year Award article. Of course, three articles of the Canadian Jeweler, Preferred Magazine, the Fairy President, Top 10 Timepieces. That's another great tool to have with you as well. Um, Even the 5-minute naked presentation. But really, the goal, in my opinion, is just to book that coffee meeting. And tools are great to have, but again, if you build proper like and trust, you don't need the tools. Okay. Now, however, you want to have the tools with you at all times in case people have much more interest and want to see some photos and having the lookbook or just talking more about credibility. Because sometimes people, when we talk to them, they might seem like they're not, for some reason, they don't believe that what you're saying is really that amazing. And by having the MacPack 2 or the Glemo Pack, it shows that credibility and it really gives them a better idea that, well, it's actually a real serious opportunity here, and it's worthwhile to take a look at. So, but of course, the most powerful tool to have is for you to make sure you're wearing a lot of bling. Okay, you want to be decked out with as much as possible without looking too gaudy. So have a watch, have a bracelet, have a ring, some earrings. The more that you wear, the more visual it is, and people can see it from you. And usually by wearing the bling, people can even start conversations with you by saying, "Hey man, that's a really nice watch." You can say, "Well, I get paid to wear it." And again, go back into the approach script. So walk the talk, wear what you're promoting, because people will ask you about your products. It's visual, and it gives you a chance to talk more about the business. Now, approaching objections. Oh, sorry about that. Got a time machine popping up here. But approaching objections. So what happens when someone says to you, "Well, can I know more?" Or they want more information? What do? You have to again bite your tongue till it bleeds. Okay? So they're asking you things like, "Well, can I know more?" Or can you tell me more about this branding campaign? Or what do you mean you get paid to wear designer products? Again, you bite your tongue till it bleeds, okay? And if they really insist on asking for more information, what do? A very simple technique is you give an excuse or a reason and you re-invite. Someone says, "Well, Rene, um, you know, how does that really work, this branding campaign of yours?" I always say, "Well, John, I'm really busy right now. I have to be off to another meeting in about 10 minutes here. But can we get together for that coffee again Wednesday, 7 p.m.? Is that good for you still?" So I'm simply giving an excuse or a reason, and I'm re-inviting, I'm reconfirming the appointment again. Okay? It could be any excuse. It could be, my son just pooed in his pants and I can't talk right now, but let's meet for coffee Wednesday, 7 p.m. Sound good? Yes? Okay, perfect. Or it could be, I'm at work right now and I can't really talk so long, but let's get together for that coffee and I'll tell you more about it then. Or it could be, my dog just pooed on the carpet. Or it could be, I'm really tight on time. I have another meeting. I have to be at this dinner meeting, whatever. Whatever it is, the point is when you usually tell someone you can't talk right now, they won't be rude and to insist on more information. And because you built like and trust again, then they'll say yes to that meeting that you had initially proposed. Okay? And that's as simple as it gets. So you can say, "Well, John, I'm pretty tight on time right now, or I'm really busy at the moment." So my first 30 approaches, if someone told me, I did my first 30 approaches on this thing called ICQ. I'm not sure if y'all remember ICQ. It's kind of like MSN, but sometimes they would say to me, "Well, Rene, can you tell me more about this thing that you're talking about?" And I would say, "Well, you know what? Very simply, I'm at work right now. My manager's walking around somewhere. But why don't we get together for that coffee at Tuesday at 7? Sound good?" And that was it. That's as simple as how I booked my first 30 presentations. And it's all about booking presentations. So again, if they really, for whatever reason, insist, which they usually shouldn't, because people aren't usually rude to say, tell me more, even when you say you're really busy, you can't talk. They really do insist for whatever reason. At most, what I would send to them is the buzz videos. So I'd send to them videos talking about, of course, the fairy president, the fairy fashion show, or the TIFF video, and that's it. Okay? And that, simply put, is how simple approaches can be. It's not rocket science. And most of us, unfortunately, just make the mistake because we're really good at piquing interest. We just screw up when they ask us for more information. And, being human and being human beings as we are, we tend to give much information or too much information that ends up backfiring against us. So the key here is to go for the approach, and once they ask for more information, you just book that coffee meeting. Now, of course, again, it's time to practice, and we usually have a practice session at the end of this training. But some last minute things to finish out the train today. Step number 3 of the 3 steps. Step 1, like and trust. Step 2, the approach. Step 3 is you have to have your list. Okay, and your list is what is going to allow you to know who to talk to book those 2 meetings a week or 5 meetings a week. And there's only one rule when you're making your list. That one rule is no prejudging. Your job, again, is not to think about who this business is for or who will like this product. Don't play God in that sense. Don't try to prejudge or think of who deserves to see this opportunity. You're here to share, you're here to give. So don't think that this person is too old, too young, too rich, too poor, too jewelry person, too IT person, too geeky. No, that's not your role. Your role is to simply show every single person that you ever known and talk to, and get to know the presentation. Go through the list one at a time. So when I joined, I got together with a friend of mine at a coffee shop, and I made a list of like 300 people my first night. And that list was in a notebook, and I just went through that list one at a time. And that's how I made my 10K a month within half a year time, just by going through my list. And because sometimes we forget who we can talk to by having a list, you don't have to keep thinking who to talk to. It's there on a piece of paper for you. The longer the list, the better, and you're constantly adding to your list. Your list doesn't ever stop growing. It's constantly getting longer because you're constantly meeting new people. It's a never-ending list. And again, if Monica, my sister, would have thought that Rene was a programmer guy into sports, volleyball, badminton, his karaoke and clubbing, and sports cars, and not into business or jewelry, I wouldn't be living this insane lifestyle I have today. And I sure am grateful for Monica for insisting that I saw the business, because at first I said no thank you to her. I said, Monica, I'm not interested. I don't want to. I'm not into jewelry. I already have a business. I'm not really into that. But she said, no, Renee, just come and take a look on my behalf. So I went out on a favor to give her my opinion of the company. And that's how she got me to see it. And when I sat there, the some things were running in my head and it just clicked for me, and that's how I got started. So again, don't prejudge, because what if you could find yourself a Renee in your team, right? Don't ever prejudge people. Don't be the person to judge who you think this is for. It's not your job. Your job is to show everyone that you know this presentation and let them decide for themselves. That's it. So, some few extra points. If someone says no to you, great, right? I mean, not everyone that I approached, they all said yes. It's impossible that every single person you talk to will say yes, because you need to get the no's, however, to get the yeses. So if you get a no, don't get discouraged and don't get all emotional and have a breakdown and start crying at home. You have to have the no's to get the yeses. So once you get a no, be happy about it, because with enough no's, you'll guarantee get a yes. And to me, failure is in not trying. Okay, so if you get a no, that's not failing. But to me, failing is if you didn't even try to do the business. So if you join for a year and you've only talked to 5, 10 people, that's not enough. And if you stop talking to people, that's failing. Failing to me, failure is in you not even trying. Okay, if you get a no, it's a good thing. So just keep on giving, just keep on sharing. The more you give, the more you'll get. And again, your only goal is to share them as many people as possible. It's opportunity in the next few years. And by doing that consistently, part time, twice a week, I can guarantee you will easily hit five-figure incomes, passive income within a year's time. And that is part of what you'll learn in the Further Networker during convention this coming April. So that essentially is the whole entire training that I have for today. And of course, it's what I focused on myself for the first, few years in network marketing before I joined GWT. And if you can again become an expert at approaches by spending the next half year to year focusing on becoming really good at this, you will start to see your incomes climbing higher and higher and higher, and your residual income getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. And again, life becomes so much more easier. So for most of us today, who have practice approaches, approaching is like breathing. It's innate. It's like second nature for us. So but that's the training for everyone today. It's going to open up the line here again, in case people have any sort of questions or comments or that kind of stuff. Are you still there, Anne-Marie? I believe you're on mute still on your side, but I have you unmuted on my side.
Yeah, I'm here now. Can you
Ah,
hear me?
perfect. Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, well, first I want to say thank you very much, Rene, for your time. I believe everybody here is quite happy. Yeah.
Thanks, Rene.
The slides? Yeah, the slides, I believe, Rene, you posted them yesterday on our GWT, correct?
Yeah, if you go to our GWT, and I'm just going to show you guys here, and on the
I'll
left
go to it.
side, yep, on the left side, you'll basically I put all of the sort of key training videos together on my website, and on the left side here, you'll see approaching training, and I have everything here from how to have a branding party, how to see complex comparisons, comp plan training, handling objections, product training, okay, survey training, tax information. But under approaching training, you'll even see here that I have this PowerPoint I just showed you right here as well too.
This PowerPoint is right there.
Yeah. And actually, I
We just started that.
give me one quick second though, because I did update the PowerPoint today. So before you guys download it, I'm just going to quickly replace that on my website. One quick moment here.
Will you put this recorded there tonight too, by any chance, please?
Yes, that is actually part of why I did the recording today. So it'll definitely be there. Definitely. I was going to replace this one over here. So give it a second, and once it uploads here, then you'll have the latest copy of that approaching training. But any questions from anyone?
Do you guys have any questions? No? Oh.
Was it clear as mud?
Super simple.
Yeah, it's very simple and
It's just practicing.
Yes, yes. I cannot stress enough the importance of practicing, because just by practicing it, you become an expert at it. And actually, Anne-Marie, do you want me to talk a little bit about what people should be doing prior to my arrival? To
yeah, please.
Yeah?
Because I forgot to send the email for last Sunday, so that'd be good actually.
Okay,
Please.
yeah, well, it's very, very short. It's only about 5 minutes long. But I'm just going to let this finish uploading here. And I'm going to stop the recording now anyhow. Um, so here's what you should be focusing on with my arrival very soon in Alberta. And so I'm just going to stop showing my screen now. But you can still hear me, right, Anne-Marie?
Yeah.
Okay. Just going to mute you guys again here. Now, with me coming down, um, there's a good way and a bad way to take use of my time, and for your own good and for your own business. I'm going to share with you guys what I've learned, because when I first started network marketing, it was mostly these companies that were started from Utah or the States, and they're expanding into Toronto, and they always had this special guest speaker being flown in from the U.S. And I've learned to effectively take use of those events, because those events it is so big that they see an out of town successful person coming in, and it creates that belief and that in your prospects. So the game plan of me coming down into Calgary or to Alberta in Vancouver is simply quite simple. There's 3 steps here, okay? And you only have to focus on step 1. The first step is to create momentum. Okay, that is our goal for today. And leading up to me arriving is to create momentum. Step 2, which is sustaining momentum, and step 3 to advance momentum, we don't have to focus on that for today. That happens later on. Okay, so today, what you and I will focus on together is step 1, which is to create momentum. And it's very simple to create momentum. To do that, from now till the day I arrive, you do as many tours as possible, or at least start talking to people about the special event we'll be having. And did you notice that I didn't say special event? I said special event. Okay? It's how you talk about it. So what's this big special event? Well, the big special event is that you have a special out-of-town speaker coming in to talk about this incredible business. And this special guest speaker is a friend of yours and your business partner. So again, I hope you're writing this down. The special big event is you have a special out-of-town speaker coming in to talk about this incredible opportunity. And this special guest speaker is a friend of yours and your business partner. He's only 32 years old and has become the company's youngest millionaire. Only 32 years old and has become the company's youngest millionaire only after 4 years. He's also a special guest speaker at an upcoming event out of Toronto called Tone 3, and he's one of 3 special guest speakers for young millionaires in MLM under the age of 35. So if you're talking to someone who's particularly in network marketing or MLM, you can tell them that I am a special guest speaker, one of 3 panelists that'll be speaking at an event called Tone 3, and the topic is young millionaires under 35 in MLM. Okay. And lastly, he's flying in all the way from Taipei, Taiwan, just to speak to you about this incredible opportunity. Now, trust me, to you, you might be used to me coming down from Taiwan, but to your people, to your prospects, when they know that you have someone flying in from Taiwan, Taipei, to speak about this opportunity, it's a wow thing. And they will most likely want to come out to that event. Okay? So again, here's what you should be doing. Booking as many like interest meetings as possible with people. And if you can, do the tour with them. And one of 3 things will happen. Okay? So again, by booking as many like interest meetings as possible, and possibly if you can, doing the tour, one of 3 things will happen. Okay, number 1, write this down, is you didn't do the tour, but you built like and trust, and you invited them to attend the special event. And most likely they'll say yes. The second thing that might happen is you did do the tour, and you did build like and trust, and you did do the tour. They didn't join yet, but they will also attend the special event. And the third thing that might happen is you did the tour, you built like and trust, they did join, and now you have 1 extra team member in your team promoting and going to the special event. So again, the 3 things were, you didn't do the tour, but you built like and trust, and they're not attending the event. Number 2, you did the tour, you built like and trust, they didn't join yet, but they're now attending the special event and probably bringing some friends. And number 3, you did the tour, they like and trust, they join you, and now you have 1 more person in your team promoting the special event. All 3 scenarios, you are building momentum. All 3 results are good for you. All 3 results will grow your business. Okay? So again, just by doing any of these 3 results, you have now created momentum, and just by doing this, results will emerge. It's not rocket science. Anne-Marie did this last time I was in Calgary, had amazing momentum created, and it's been growing since then. Leslie Carew from Vancouver and Wilson Liaw from Vancouver, same thing. Boris in Edmonton is doing the same thing. It's no magic. It's simple, but it takes one thing from you that someone just said a while ago. It takes action. You have to take action because you can know every little detail about GWT, you can know every answer to every question, but if you aren't taking action, nothing will happen. Nothing. You can think all day, you can plan all day, you can rethink, rewrite your goals, you can pray all day, call upon the powers of Thor, whatever it might be, but without action, it's useless. You have to get out there and take action. Because again, in your mindset, you're here to give, you're here to share. And trust me, being in the richest province in all of Canada, people at the very least need to save money with the tax benefits of having a home based business. But in more cases, people also don't want to have to work for the next 50 years because 95% of all people who work a full time job in retirement retire uncomfortably. So know that everyone needs this opportunity, and your job is to share it with them. So, to prepare properly for my event, get out there, book as many like and trust meetings as possible, invite them to a special event. If they have time, do the tour with them, and those one of three things will happen for you. And that's all you have to do to create momentum leading up to my arrival. If you do that, I can guarantee you, you have so many people joining your team, you will see a massive growth in your business. So that's pretty much what you guys will want to be doing. Is what I shared last Sunday with people. Again, this coming Sunday, after the Sunday night training call. Actually, I am doing a training this coming Sunday on the calm plan, by the way. But again, if you want to join me again on this coming Sunday after the Sunday night training call, we're having a special meeting every week with the Western team leading up to my arrival. So I'm just going to quickly here unmute Anne-Marie again. And any last questions or comments?
Hello again.
Hello, hello.
So, yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay. So he's coming March 2nd, and March 2nd we'll have a boot camp training, and then March 3rd at 7. Yeah, I'll go with details after the call. But do you guys have any questions directly to Rene? That we're all good?
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you, and thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
We're gonna practice and take action.
Yeah, so go ahead and download those slides and practice together as a team right now. Of course, I will be going through Edmonton first, then to Regina, then to Calgary. If you can make it to Edmonton, because for whatever reason you just have some open schedule, please come down, travel with me together. Pick my brains all week long. But of course, definitely make sure that you book off your Saturday for the bootcamp training, because more training is, of course, very critical to your success. And we'll see you guys in Calgary for sure.
Yeah, awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're all looking forward.
All
Thanks,
righty.
Rene. You're looking really good. You're looking really good, Rene. Nice tie.
Oh, thank you very much. I have those designer ties I always love to wear, of course, until we decide to create our own fairy ties. So